Now that we've talked about tool palettes and the basics of our ribbons and our panels, let's start tweaking and adding some stuff to our ribbon. To do that, I'm going to go to my CUI and we're going to go to the appropriate one. And what we've made so far is just a basic ribbon and a tab. And on that tab, we have a single panel. So let's come over here and let's make us a new panel. So let's make another panel and just call it lisps. And on this panel, I'm going to put buttons to help me execute maybe some lisps that I use often or my organization may use often. So the panel still consists of rows, and we'll get into that here in just a second. So I still have to have commands to add to my row, and we're going to start with one row and so that you can see it. So let's make some new lisps. Let's make one, or new buttons, sorry. Let's call this one TLN. Pretty common one most people use. Choose an icon. And let's add two more. Let's make one and let's call this one T area and make another one. Let's call it some text. Why not? And just choose me some icons because I don't really care for the video. There we go. Now, these three buttons I am wanting to run Mac or Lisps with. So in order to run a Lisp, if you didn't know, you have to load the Lisp into your drawing using the appload command. So I'll just hit OK here so you can see that. If the Lisp is not already in Civil 3D, you have to load it by using appload. Navigate to the location, load it, close the app loader, and then execute the command. Well, we don't want to have to go through all those steps every time. Let's make our buttons do it for us. In order to do that, we're going to pass some certain code to our command lines. So let's come down here to TLN, and here's the macro. I have the code to run it, which is pretty simple. Right here, I'm going to paste it into the macro. And all it is a double clear to cancel any commands, the command load, path to the Lisp, and then the command to activate the Lisp. That's all it is. So again, file path is important. So we'll just come down here, and here is my path to my Lisps. So we come back to my here. We're going to replace this. Fix the slashes. Whoop, 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 whoop. And put in the command that I'm doing. I'm doing TLN, or the Lisp, and then the command to activate the Lisp. And in case you didn't know, if you open, we'll go to TLN here, the Lisp in Notepad, you will see right here definition of the function, and this is the command that executes the function of the Lisp. Okay, so now that we have that in there, we're going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit OK. Actually, I'm going to hit apply because I've made these commands, so I haven't done anything with them. So let's come up here to our ribbon, our list panel, and let's add these three. I know I've only populated one, but we're going to add all three so that you can see what happens here. So this is another panel. So I need to add the panel to the tab. So I'm going to add it to the tab. Put it in the order I want it. Hit OK, and let's see what happens. So since it was another panel, it automatically put a separator here. And you can see that I've got the same issues before because I didn't make it look all pretty. Now, a reason I wanted to do 3 is that notice that they are on a single row. If you have a lot of them and you're wanting them to be like this, where they're stacked, these are individual rows. So, and notice on here I have an icon and a name. So let's come over here and let's do the same thing. Let's go to our go to the right CUI. Let's go to our ribbon, panels, lists, rows, and change the way these look. So let's do large horizontal, large horizontal, and large horizontal. Notice it's showing you what it's going to look like up here. I click OK. And you're really just, this is just playing with how it feels. So now I've got them like that. Now let's show you how to put them on individual rows. And you may already have figured it out because it's not overly complicated. It just takes a second to wrap your brain around how it works, particularly when you have as many as you saw in that example. So let's come over here, go to panels, list, rows, and let's say we want these to be vertically instead of horizontally. I need 3 rows, so I'm going to add a row. There's row 2. There's row 3. And then I will take these and put them like this. And you can see what it's showing. Now, you see how that has a pull down? So let's go over here to CUI. Go to the video. Go to ribbons and panels and choose the panel itself. So in here is a display and display type and the key text. If you come to the panel to the row, oh, it's actually up here under tabs. If I go up here to the panel under the tab, notice that the resize style is set to collapse as needed. I can say never collapse, or I could say collapse the last. I'm going to say never collapse and hit OK. And you'll see what it does. And this is just getting to your look and feel and how you want your ribbon to look. Give it a second. It's taking a hot second to reload that. That didn't seem to carry over. Let's do that again. And you'll be able to eventually get it, depending on the size and how you're playing with this. That's all the things you can do. So if I click the TLIN command, it actually will execute it. Although it looks like I coded something wrong here. I think I only have one P in there. Yep. One P. Yep, it's trying to load it. You'll get this pop up the first time. I want to tell it to always load. And now I can sum the links of all these objects using the lisp command. And there's the sum using the TLIN. So that's how you can add buttons for your lisps. And you can see in this example, this panel has a single row, and this panel has 3 rows, and this panel has 3 rows, and this panel has a single. If I show you the way this one is set up so that you can see a more complex one, I will need to open it real fast. So this tab has 1, 2, 3, 4 panels. In each panel, the first panel has a single row, as we mentioned. The viewports row has one row with separate subpanels. That's what I had made a mistake of. If you're wanting them to be beside each other and it not collapse, they need to be called subrows. And each subpanel has rows. So a row, a subpanel, and then 3 rows. A subpanel and 3 rows. A subpanel and 3 rows. And that's how I ended up getting this to look like this. The same for the Lisp commands. So if you're getting a complex one with a bunch of buttons, this is going to take some getting used to and figuring all this out. And on that row 1, there's only 1 point because they're in by row and by subpanel. So it's a little convoluted mess, but you do it enough times, it'll make sense. And that's it for this video. Probably for this entire series. We'll get into some specifics, some problems, and some custom macros that you can use to solve the problems in future videos.